Most people do not have a money problem. They have a lifestyle problem. And those two things are not the same, because you can make $3,000 a month and still be financially stable, and you can make $10,000 a month and somehow still feel like you are drowning, still stressed, still behind, still wondering where it all went. That is the part nobody wants to talk about, because the real difference is not always income. It is rules. The people who stay financially stable usually do not just earn better. They live better. They spend with more intention. They know where their money is allowed to go and where it is not. And that is where minimalism comes in. Minimalism is not about being cheap. It is not about depriving yourself. And it is definitely not about pretending you do not want nice things. It is about being intentional. It is about building a life where your money is not constantly disappearing into things you barely even value. Because the truth is, most people do not need more money to feel stable. They need fewer leaks, fewer impulse decisions, fewer recurring expenses, fewer habits that quietly keep them broke. So in this video, I want to show you the minimalist money rules that actually matter. The ones that help ordinary people stay financially stable, no matter how much they earn. Not by doing anything extreme, just by being clear, disciplined, and intentional. Think about this. You get paid, and for a moment, everything feels okay. You breathe a little easier. You look at your account and tell yourself, this month will be different. This time I'm going to be more disciplined. This time I'm actually going to keep money. And at first, it feels possible. But then life starts happening the way it always does. Your subscriptions renew, a random expense shows up. You order food because you had a long day. You buy a few small things because, honestly, you feel like you deserve it. And none of it feels reckless in the moment. That is what makes it dangerous. Because it is never one huge mistake. It is 100 small ones that feel harmless. And before the next paycheck hits, you are right back where you started. Confused, tight, wondering how your money disappeared again. That is not bad luck. That is not just inflation. That is a system without rules. And if your money has no rules, your emotions will always spend it for you. Rule number 1, if it repeats, it must be controlled. This is one of the most important money rules you will ever learn. Because the expenses that destroy stability are usually not dramatic. They are repetitive. It is the daily coffee, the food delivery, the streaming services you forgot you were still paying for, the ride shares that feel more convenient than planning ahead, the quick little purchases that seem too small to matter. Individually, they do not look like a problem, but repeated over weeks and months, they become the reason you never feel ahead. This is where a lot of people get distracted. They focus on the big purchases, the luxury bag, the expensive vacation, the one-time splurge. But minimalist thinkers understand something deeper. Financial stability is usually not lost in one giant decision. It is lost in small repeated habits. That is why minimalists do not just ask, can I afford this today? They ask, what does this cost me over time? Because anything that repeats has power. And if it keeps leaving your account, it deserves your attention. So before you try to fix your whole financial life, start here. Look at what keeps happening. Look at what keeps charging. Look at what keeps draining you in small amounts. Because stability is built in repetition, not in restriction. Rule number 2, your lifestyle should not rise with your income. When your income increases, your lifestyle should pause. Not forever. Just long enough for your stability to catch up. This is where most people lose the plot. They get a raise, a better job, a side hustle, starts paying off, and almost immediately the lifestyle starts expanding. A better apartment, more eating out, more subscriptions, more convenience, more little upgrades that make life feel more successful, and on the surface it looks fine, because technically you can afford more. But that is exactly where the trap begins. A lot of people do not use extra income to build breathing room. They use it to build new expenses. So now they make more, but they still feel pressure. They still feel behind. They still feel like one bad month could throw everything off. Why? Because they upgraded their life, but not their stability. And that is a dangerous way to live. Minimalist money says this. Every income increase is not permission to spend more. It is an opportunity to become harder to shake, to save more, to invest more, to create margin, to buy yourself peace before you buy yourself appearances. Because more money does not fix instability, it exposes it. If your habits are weak, more money gives those habits more room to do damage. So the next time your income goes up, do not rush to make your lifestyle match it. Let your discipline rise first. Rule number 3, everything must have a job. Minimalist money is intentional money. That means every dollar should be assigned before it is spent, not after, before. Because if you wait until money is already sitting in your account with no direction, it becomes very easy to confuse access with freedom. You see the money, you feel relaxed, and suddenly it starts disappearing into whatever feels urgent, fun, or emotionally justified in the moment. That is why every dollar needs a purpose. Some money is for needs. Your rent, groceries, bills, transportation, the basics that keep your life running. Some money is for the future, savings, investments, emergency reserves, things that protect the version of you that has not arrived yet. And some money is for wants, the part you can enjoy without guilt because it was planned. That is the key. When your money has a job, you stop spending from confusion. You stop guessing. You stop treating your bank balance like one giant pile of permission. And the reason this matters so much is simple. If your money has no plan, it will follow your emotions. And emotions are expensive. You will spend when you are tired, spend when you are bored, spend when you want to reward yourself, spend when you want relief. But intentional money creates boundaries. It tells your money where to go before life tells it for you. Because unplanned money always disappears. Rule number 4, delay is your superpower. One of the biggest myths about minimalist money is that it is all about denial. That stable people are just saying no to themselves all the time. But that is not really what is happening. Minimalists do not deny themselves, they delay themselves. And that difference matters. Because most unnecessary spending is emotional spending. It happens in the moment when something feels exciting, comforting, rewarding, or urgent. That is why one of the smartest things you can do before any non-essential purchase is this: pause. Create a simple rule for yourself. Maybe it is the 24-hour rule. If you want it today, wait 24 hours. Maybe it is the 72-hour rule for anything above a certain amount. No instant yes, no emotional swiping, just space. And that small pause can save you more money than most budgeting hacks ever will. Because once the feeling passes, your clarity comes back. And you start to realize something important. A lot of the things you thought you wanted, you did not actually want. You just wanted the feeling attached to them. The feeling of reward, the feeling of progress, the feeling of comfort, the feeling of finally having something nice. That is the real battle. Because you are not always buying the item, you're buying a feeling. And when you learn to delay the feeling, you give yourself the chance to decide whether the purchase is actually worth it. That is power. Not reacting instantly, not letting every desire become a decision. Because financial stability is not just built by what you earn, it is built by what you can pause. Rule number 5, convenience is expensive. And honestly, this is one of the most normalized financial leaks in America. Because convenience does not look dangerous. It looks helpful. It looks like food delivery after a long day. It looks like prepackaged meals because you were too tired to cook. It looks like paying for the premium version because ads are annoying. It looks like calling an Uber because planning ahead feels like too much work. And every single one of those choices feels small in the moment. That is why they add up so quietly. Convenience has a way of disguising itself as something harmless, something you deserve, something that saves time. And sometimes it does. But when convenience becomes your default setting, it starts costing you more than you realize. Not just money, discipline too. Because the more you build your life around ease, the more expensive your normal becomes. You stop asking, what is the smartest option? And start asking, what is the fastest, easiest, most comfortable option right now? That question gets expensive very quickly. Minimalist money is not about making life hard. It is about noticing when comfort is quietly becoming a financial habit. Because convenience feels small until it becomes your lifestyle. And when that happens, your money starts disappearing into comfort you barely even think about. That is why this rule matters so much. Wealth is often lost in comfort, not mistakes. Not in one terrible decision, not in one financial disaster, but in the daily habit of paying extra to avoid inconvenience. And over time, that habit can cost you more than you ever planned. Rule number 6, own less, stress less. This one is simple, but it is deeper than it sounds. The more you own, the more you maintain. Every new thing you bring into your life does not just cost you once. It keeps costing you. More clothes means more spending to keep up with trends. More gadgets means more upgrades, repairs, replacements. More stuff means more space, more organization, more pressure to manage it all. And over time, it adds up. Not just financially, mentally too. Because now your money is not just supporting your life, it is supporting your possessions. And that is where things start to feel heavy. Minimalists understand that every item has a hidden cost. Not just the price tag, but the responsibility that comes with it. So instead of constantly adding more, they become more selective. They buy fewer things, but better things, things that actually serve a purpose in their life. Because when you reduce what you own, you also reduce what you have to pay for. Think about upgrade and maintain. You create space, financially and mentally. And that space is what stability feels like. Minimalist money is not about having nothing. It is about not being owned by everything you have. Rule number 7, save first, live on the rest. This is one of the biggest mindset shifts you can make with money. Most people save what is left. They pay their bills, they spend what they need to spend. They enjoy a few things, and then they look at what remains and say, okay, I'll try to save this. But here is the problem. There's almost never anything left. Because life expands to fill whatever money is available. That is why minimalists flip the order. They save first, they invest first, they secure their future first, and then they live on what remains. not the other way around, because when saving is treated like an afterthought, it gets pushed aside by everything else that feels more urgent in the moment. But when saving is automatic, when it happens before you even get the chance to spend, everything changes. You adjust your lifestyle around what is left. You become more intentional. You naturally cut out what does not fit. And most importantly, you start building stability without constantly thinking about it. Because if you wait to save, you will not. There will always be something else to spend on. That is why this rule matters so much. Saving is not a leftover habit. It is a priority system. It is a decision to take care of your future self before you take care of your current impulses. And that one shift alone can completely change your financial life. Rule number 8, financial peace is greater than social status. Minimalists do not spend to impress. They understand something most people ignore. The people you are trying to impress are often just as financially stressed as you are. They are posting the highlights, not the pressure, not the debt, not the anxiety behind the scenes. But if you are not careful, you start building your life around perception, what it looks like, how it feels to others, how it compares. And that is expensive. Because now your spending is not coming from your needs. It is coming from your image. Minimalist money rejects that. It chooses peace over pressure, clarity over comparison, control over validation. Because at the end of the day, the goal is not to look rich. It is to feel stable, to feel secure, to know that your life is not one unexpected expense away from stress. Peace is better than perception. And the moment you truly understand that, your decisions start to change. Let me ask you something. Is your life designed for stability or for appearance? Be honest with yourself. Because a lot of people are working hard, earning more, doing everything they can, and still not feeling in control. Not because they are failing, but because they are living without rules. And without rules, money becomes emotional, unpredictable, easy to lose. But the moment you start creating structure, everything changes. You do not need to earn more to feel in control. You need rules. Clear ones, simple ones you actually follow, because financial stability is not about how much you make. It is about how much you keep and how intentionally you live. And if you are serious about changing that, not just watching videos, but actually becoming more disciplined, more intentional, more in control of your money, then this channel is for you. I break down the habits, the psychology, and the real systems behind building stability, wealth, and peace with money. So if that is the direction you are moving in, subscribe and start building a life where your money finally works for you, not against you.